Every single day, dozens of Chinese factories claim they are producing something they call a solid-state battery. Car companies stamp it on their brochures, investors pour billions into it, and yet, until a few days ago, nobody could actually prove whether any of those batteries were solid-state at all. Then, on July 1st, a new national law quietly went into effect in China. And it changed everything.
For the first time in history, a government has drawn a hard line between a real solid-state battery and a marketing slogan. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how that line was drawn, how it's tested, and which companies are about to be exposed. This matters more than almost any other story in the battery industry right now. Electric vehicles already represent a market worth well over $500 billion a year. And the single biggest complaint from drivers everywhere is the same: range anxiety, slow charging, and batteries that degrade in the cold. Solid-state batteries promise to fix all three at once by replacing the flammable liquid electrolyte inside a normal battery with a solid material. That single change could mean cars that travel over 1,000 kilometers on one charge, that charge in minutes instead of hours, and that don't catch fire in a crash. It's the holy grail of the entire EV industry. But here's the problem. Building a true solid-state battery is brutally difficult. So instead, many manufacturers started selling something else, batteries that still contain a meaningful amount of liquid electrolyte, and calling them solid-state anyway. Almost nobody outside a handful of chemists could tell the difference. Until now. To understand how this scandal was even possible, you have to start with the raw materials themselves. A conventional lithium-ion battery relies on a liquid electrolyte, a chemical soup that lets lithium ions flow between the two electrodes. It's cheap, it's proven, and it's also the reason your phone or your car can catch fire if the battery is punctured. A true solid-state battery replaces that liquid with a solid material, usually a ceramic, a sulfide compound, or a polymer. These materials have to conduct lithium ions almost as well as a liquid does, while also being stable, moldable into thin layers, and cheap enough to produce at scale. Sulfide-based electrolytes are wildly promising because they conduct ions extremely well, but they're also so sensitive to air and moisture that a single crack in a factory's climate control system can ruin an entire production batch. Oxide-based ceramics are more stable, but harder to manufacture into thin, flexible sheets. Every single company chasing this technology has picked a different chemical path, and every path comes with its own nightmare of engineering trade-offs. Now here's where things get interesting, because manufacturers realized there was a shortcut. Instead of eliminating the liquid electrolyte completely, they could just reduce it. Add a small amount of solid material into a mostly liquid battery and call the results something like semi-solid state. It sounded almost as advanced. It photographed the same in a press release, and because there was no legal definition of the term, nobody could challenge the claim. For years, this loophole let entire product lines launch with vague, unverifiable branding. Consumers had no way to know if they were buying a genuine breakthrough or a liquid battery wearing a costume. That loophole is exactly what China's new standard was built to close. The regulation is officially known as a National GB/T standard for solid-state batteries used in electric vehicles, and its first and most important job is terminology. For the first time, a government body has legally defined what counts as a hybrid solid-liquid battery versus a genuine all-solid-state battery, and it did it using a number, not a slogan. To even use the words hybrid solid liquid, a cell must contain somewhere between 5 and 10% liquid electrolyte by weight. Anything with more liquid than that simply isn't allowed to use the term at all. But the real headline is the all-solid-state category. To earn that label, and only that label, a cell's remaining liquid electrolyte mass has to fall under 5% of the total weight of the battery. Not roughly under 5%. Under 5%. Measured, verified, and enforced. But how do you even measure something that small hidden inside a sealed battery cell? This is where the process becomes genuinely fascinating, because the test itself is almost as demanding as the manufacturing. Regulators place the finished cell inside a vacuum chamber and heat it to 120 degrees Celsius for 6 full hours. Under vacuum and heat, any liquid electrolyte trapped inside the cell evaporates and escapes, while the solid materials stay put. Technicians then weigh what's left and calculate exactly how much mass was lost to evaporation. If the mass lost corresponds to more liquid electrolyte than the label allows, the battery fails, no matter what the company printed on its marketing materials. One tiny miscalculation in electrode coating thickness, one slightly excess drop of electrolyte added during assembly to help ions move faster, and an entire product line can suddenly find itself reclassified overnight and its solid-state branding stripped away in an instant. This is the single biggest reason this law is being called an earthquake inside the industry. Some of China's most advanced automakers have already staked their reputations on hybrid designs. Chery has developed hybrid solid-liquid batteries capable of a 5-minute fast charge and roughly 500 kilometers of range. NIO, working with a partner called Welion New Energy, is preparing hybrid cells at 360 watt-hours per kilogram for its flagship sedan. SAIC's MG brand actually became the first company in the world to put a mass-produced hybrid solid-liquid battery into a car buyers could purchase. None of these are frauds, far from it. These are genuinely impressive engineering achievements. But under the new standard, every one of them must now be labeled precisely as hybrid, not solid state, and consumers will finally be able to see the difference on paper. Meanwhile, a much smaller group of manufacturers is racing to clear the much higher bar of true all-solid-state production, and that race is where the most impressive engineering in this entire story is happening.
Dongfeng Motor has built a pilot production line producing oxide polymer hybrid cells that reached an energy density of 350 watt-hours per kilogram, enough to push a vehicle past 1,000 kilometers of range. These cells were baked in ovens at 170 degrees Celsius to test their thermal stability, and tested in the brutal winter cold of Mohe, one of the coldest inhabited places in China, where they still retained 72% of their capacity. Gotion High-Tech went even further, completing a pilot verification using 100% domestically manufactured equipment, including specialized slot die coaters and high-pressure rollers, eliminating any dependence on imported machinery entirely. That kind of vertical control over the entire supply chain, from raw material to finished cell, is almost unheard of this early in a technology's life. And yet, even the companies closest to the finish line admit the road ahead is long. CATL, the largest battery maker on the planet, has publicly stated that true solid-state batteries still face major hurdles before mass production becomes realistic. Full-scale factories capable of producing these cells by the gigawatt-hour remain under construction, with some sites still pouring concrete and erecting steel as of mid-2026.
So what happens to a battery that fails this test? It simply cannot legally be marketed using solid-state terminology in China, a market that now represents the single largest EV industry on Earth. For a company that has spent years building a brand identity around the phrase solid state, a failed vacuum chamber test isn't just a technical setback, it's a public relations disaster. Here are a few numbers that put the sheer scale of this shift into perspective. The liquid electrolyte threshold for a true solid-state battery, under 5%, is stricter than an earlier industry guideline from 2025, which allowed for double that amount. Multiple major Chinese automakers, including BYD, Geely, Chery, GAC, Dongfeng, and FAW, are all racing to begin installation trials of solid-state batteries as early as next year. Analysts expect small-batch commercial vehicles carrying these batteries to appear around 2027 and 2028, with true mainstream mass production not arriving until roughly 2030. One market forecast projects the global battery landscape will reach 500 gigawatt-hours by 2035, with fully solid-state chemistry making up over 40% of that market. And this entire regulatory framework is only the first of 4 planned parts, with future sections expected to define performance benchmarks, safety requirements, and long-term lifespan standards. Globally, this story reaches far beyond China's borders. Toyota, Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Nissan, and Volkswagen are all developing their own solid-state programs, but none of them operate inside a legal system that forces this level of transparency yet. Because there was previously no international standard for solid-state terminology anywhere in the world, China's new law effectively becomes the first hard legal definition on the planet. And it's likely to influence how regulators in Europe, Japan, and North America eventually write their own rules. Zoom back out and the picture becomes clear. A battery that started as a marketing buzzword has just become a legally defined, chemically measurable product. What used to be decided by a press release is now decided by a vacuum chamber, a temperature gauge, and a scale. Some of the most celebrated EV technologies of the last few years have just been quietly reclassified, while a handful of genuine breakthroughs have finally earned the label they deserve.
So here's the question worth sitting with. As this technology races toward mass production over the next 4 years, will other countries follow China's lead and force the same kind of transparency onto their own EV markets? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and tell me which manufacturing process or industrial secret you want exposed next. If you enjoyed peeling back the layers of this story, hit like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.